In light of a very significant turn of events, we are back with Representative J.T. Wilcox. You have a very significant announcement to make.
Well, I've talked to my caucus about this, so you're the first person I've talked to outside of the caucus and some of my colleagues as leaders of the Four Corners. I am going to be stepping down as House Republican Leader. I've been doing this for about 5 years now. In fact, I think this is my 6th sine die in that job, and I felt like it was time to look back at my caucus, recognize just how talented and dedicated they are, and make room for new leadership. And they're ready for that too.
Why the decision?
Well, I think I just said it. It was time. In the legislature, 6 years is a long time. This is not supposed to be a full-time job or a long career. And I think I've got 2 other things that have to do with newer people in my caucus and younger people. I've got very, very talented leaders, and I think that there are at least a handful of people that will be better at this job than I am. And the other thing that I think is we have come through so much bitterness in the last few years that, someone in my generation and my age is never going to be able to escape that. We need to give leaders across our country an opportunity to make a new start, forget all of the hatred that has arisen as a result of ideology, conflict, some of it violent, COVID and our reaction to COVID. And I want my caucus to start fresh. And the best way to do that is for them to start fresh with some different leadership.
So is this announcement effective today?
It will be effective when my replacement is selected. I don't want to leave this tremendous group of people without some way to focus. I'm not sure what that time will be. I'd prefer that it was after a week or two, so that the caucus feels like it has a clear chance to decide, but ultimately the caucus decides what the timing is as well.
So you've been in the legislature for a dozen years or so now, correct me if I'm wrong here.
This is my 13th regular session.
So what's next for you? First of all, are you going to retain your seat? Do you plan to continue to serve in this
My
role?
default is to do that.
In terms of the role of being a caucus leader versus another type of leadership responsibility within the caucus, or simply serving your constituents as a representative, what are the demands on a leadership position like the one that you are now leaving behind?
Well, I think it is almost impossible for other people to realize how much stress and responsibility there is. And I'm the minority leader, so there's some things that I don't get that perhaps Lori and Andy would see. But you have, first of all, this group of highly motivated people that are working hard. You've got a staff of people, and the leader is the only person in a caucus that has really the HR responsibility. And the people, especially the young ones that come down to Olympian work, are among the most brilliant people that we have. And so you have this pressure cooker of talent, some ambition, just the purest motives of service, and you have to try to turn that into a direction. And sometimes you can do it, other times it's really hard to. And I would just say I've tried hard this session, because I knew that this was going to be my last session, to provide as much example to our leadership team, so that they won't be, whoever replaces me, won't be absolutely new to this job, and will maybe learn from the mistakes that I've made. The other thing that I want to say too, and I'm going to share a statement with you when we're done, and maybe it'll explain things better than I can right now. I've been blessed with a leadership team, both staff and elected, that have the rarest quality of all. None of them are afraid to tell me when I'm being wrong. And that is such a valuable thing. So few people get that. I cannot tell you how grateful I am for that, and also for my deep friendship with Joel Kretz, the deputy leader.
Well, that, I guess if you have nothing to add, you've got a statement, I believe, that's going to come out shortly after this interview. So, any closing thoughts before we go to break?
You know, I've tried to do my best, not just in the caucus and not just among Republicans, but for people across the state. And one of the things that I guess, you know, some people like, some people don't, is I've tried to make it very plain that even though we deeply believe our ideology and, you know, our point of view, we should try whenever we can to be here for everybody. And this year has been a great example of some really courageous people, politically courageous, on the Republican and the Democrat side that said we're not going to make this all about parties. We're going to make it about the people of Washington. And, you know, I hope that I've contributed to that, but certainly there's plenty of evidence that I've fallen short too.
We will leave it there. So after several years of leading the House Republican Caucus, Representative J.T. Wilcox, Republican, Yale, is stepping down. And that concludes our Sine Die coverage. Thank you for watching TVW. All of these interviews will be available on our website, tvw.org. We appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. Take care.